Hello, everybody. Today's video is going to be a little different than how I usually present videos. Typically I do a workout and then I present the workout and I put my ideas within the workout. However, today, I'm just kind of going to do whatever. It's, I guess, my creative process. I don't know. If you want to call it that. So yesterday I had a really hard workout, and I'm not really in too much of a mood today to do something incredibly structured. Instead, I want to just play around with the weights, do stuff for random reps, random sets, kind of explore the way my body moves, and just different ideas with the kettlebells and the different stuff that I have here. Um, Yeah, and as I do it, I'll just kind of express some thoughts about stuff, about why I'm coming up with different kinds of movements, why I'm choosing to train like this today, how often I train like this, and stuff like that. In any case, yeah, so I was playing around. So one of the things that I like to do is combine tools. So it could be a kettlebell and a steel mace, or a club and a steel mace, just pretty much to like combine two different styles of moving, uh, and with two different tools. It just increases the possibilities of movements by a lot, and sometimes the sensations are similar to what you can achieve from other movements that are just kettlebell exclusive or club bell exclusive. But having these variations allow for keeping things interesting and just to explore, uh, yeah, more ways of moving. So one of the ideas that I had was using a kettlebell anchor to do a club bell clean. So I'm gonna do 5 cleans using my 15-pound club and 25-pound mace. I found that while using anchors, especially for like stuff that involves cleaning motions, if the weight in that's anchoring you is too heavy, uh, the movement doesn't feel smooth. And while there is a time and place where you want to hold something really heavy on one side, uh, a lot of the times I want to feel a perfect fluid movement rather than just taxing the like heavy weights all the time. Hey. So the thing with an anchor is it doesn't always have to be like a suitcase hold. You can then choose to keep it on your shoulders perhaps, and this would change the movement quite a bit because here, so in the other movement, it's like it's the weights down on the side and your lats tend to be, I guess, contracted a little. uh Here, or is it the QL that's contracted a little, whatever. But now those same muscles are kind of like outstretched, but the weight's still on the same side. So it'll present its own unique challenge. And so do 5 like this as well. And then switch sides. So when you start doing stuff uh in these kinds of ways, you start noticing that your body feels really different depending on what it's doing. and helps you hone in on certain imbalances that are in your body, and it might allow you to either get them fixed somehow, or just be more aware of how your body works. um yeah, and then with the kettlebell, there's this thing that I've been doing recently quite a bit in my gym workouts. So I've really gotten uh, or developed a liking to figure eight and around the world cleans. So figure eight cleanser, this, and then around the world is. There's something so fluid, and the fact that it moves around the body, I think, is really cool. And using them as like a transition from hand to hand allows me to pair movements like, let's say, a lunge thruster with a figure eight clean. So figure eight clean. And those movements just feel so fluid. You can do that the same way with around the world. So notice how I'm not going all the way down with my lunges. Um, you can go all the way down, so you can do this. They're just different movements. One's just like a jerking motion, and then the other is like more of a lunge. And then you can also use opposite hands and opposite legs, and each of those variations will feel different too. But at the end of the day, it's about developing that rhythm and kind of flowing with the weight. And yeah, like uh, so with the figure eight cleans, as it lands, there's that action of absorbing impact with the legs. It teaches you how to like absorb impact essentially. So like when you jump, you want to land and then absorb impact. Um, Doing various movements, or at least this is the way I think the body works. So, for example, if you look at how trainers talk about building sprint strength or just explosiveness and stuff in general, they prescribe power cleans or power snatches and stuff like that. Uh, but aside from, I guess, handling heavy weight and making you strong, like why those particular movements? It's essentially because, in my opinion, it teaches you how to use multiple muscle groups at the same time, upper body and legs, and absorb impact. Learn how to use the whole body as a unit to press crazy amounts of weight overhead, where they wouldn't be able to strict press it. And so with sprinting, it's not just a leg movement. You're like moving your hand. You're trying to generate that forward propulsion. It's like it's almost like a cross the body sort of system, which is why you oppose arms while walking, and you kind of try to explode like that. And when you do stuff like kettlebell snatches and stuff, or step snatches, if you look at it, it is like combining that action of stepping forward with the snatch at the same time. And then you can also like probably the right way of doing it is also to like have the opposing arm come like this. And then if you compare that to how people get ready for jumping, it's that. So kettlebell snatch like that, whatever. The point being, it teaches you that rhythm and how to do movements while uh, moving multiple muscle groups together rhythmically at the same time. Anyway, uh, I guess I'm going to play around with that for a little while longer, and then let's see what I come up with next. All right, so another idea. Um, it feels like sometimes people stick to the basics, quote unquote, because they don't feel proficient enough to be creative with their routines, if that makes sense. But let's assume you know the basic kettlebell swing. Um, this next thing is pretty accessible. So, in most cases, should I do? All right, let's. Uh, if you know how to do a kettlebell swing, which is like that, it's the same thing with the club. So just keep that in mind if you don't have a club. Anyway, so um, an often underlooked swing is the outside swing. So mostly when people swing a kettlebell, it's between the legs, but you can also swing it outside. I know a lot of people do this, but you see it much less often than the one in between the legs. That's my point. So, yeah, so you can do an outside swing, but this isn't particularly creative or different than what I do usually. So, how about you do a staggered and then an outside, staggered, then an outside? But what if you also switched arms and, you know, incorporated the left and the right side, and then you could just keep moving. Ah, missed the rhythm there, but from side to side. And now all of a sudden you have a very, well, not very, a somewhat complex movement pattern. It requires some thinking to coordinate, like the timing of the step back and moving into the outside swing, uh, switch hands. Like, yeah, there are some components in here that do require some level of coordination, but it's all built off of uh, basic, uh, the basic swinging motion that translates both into kettlebell and clubbell movements. So yeah, if you're getting bored of kettlebell swings, by doing a variation such as this, which builds off of your basic understanding of the kettlebell swing, you have now created a movement that requires more coordination, a little bit more awareness and rhythm, but is built off of something that you're already capable of. So yeah, I was doing that pretty much with no rep count till uh, till it felt kind of tiring. Now you can do the same thing with a kettlebell. Notice how when I swing, I bring the opposite hand back with me as well, and like try to rhythmically contract and time the contractions of multiple muscle groups at the same time. So the step back is going back at the same rhythm as uh, the right hand's going back, and then it's stepping forward in the same way as well. Yeah, and that kind of stuff is important to know. Um, Now, uh, if you want to get a little bit more complex with this, um, and in some cases it might almost be easier to keep track of because it allows you to pause between swings a little, but that will make sense when I show you what I'm thinking about. So you could do outside swing, but then when you do an inside, you clean, press, then switch hands, clean, press, outside swing, clean, press, clean, press, outside swing. So that allows you to slow things down and just kind of get that thing. The movement's not as flowy. So yeah, just some ideas that I'm playing around with at the moment. Um, is there? So here's the thought. So now we've come to the idea that you can swing and then do this. But what if you went into a snatch instead? It adds a pause, but maintains, I think, a higher degree of flowiness. So that would look like this. I missed the timing on that a little. So yeah, going to mess around with that concept a little longer, and then on to the next. So now I'm going to do some steel mace free flow with my 7 pound mace, and I have no like set pattern that I'm doing, but in the process of doing free flow, I can probably express some thoughts about coming up with steel mace exercises, complexes, and stuff like that. So, starting off with single hand 360, switching, forward swing, hand switch, reverse mill, wrist roll, reverse mill. Wanted to go into a pendulum, but okay, that would look like this. So that reverse mill, but back into a pendulum, hand switch, reverse mill, pendulum. So within those sequence of movements, there's like nice repeatable elements. So for example, I'm doing one of those now. So reverse mill, pendulum, front swing, switch hands, reverse mill, pendulum. And so now I have something that I can use for a workout at some point, where I'll do that particular movement sequence with a heavier weight, maybe. Or do like 10 reps on each side as part of a circuit or something like that. And so by doing free flow, I'm able to find elements that feel nice to do and are easily repeatable. I'll like throw in legs. So this would probably be hard to do with a heavier mace, but this seems interesting. So usually I would do a 360 to a front swing to a squat and then switch hands and repeat. But instead of doing the 360, what if all you did was this and all you did was that? And so ideas like that come by, and I'm kind of just free flowing with the weight. Then you can also do like side to side swings like this, and then move the rest of the body along with the mace. And that gives rise to its own complexity. And if you have a light and short enough mace, you can also do a variation of a swing, different kinds of hand to hand passes, and maybe you pair a hand to hand pass to a squat, and then you have another element. Yeah, stuff like that. And then, so with the 7 pound mace, flowing is pretty easy, but doesn't require a whole lot of strength. And so then, um, when you do it with something heavier, you tend to do more 2 arm movements or double arm movements. So with the 7 pound mace, it's really easy to do single hand 360s. The 15s, it's pretty easy for me, but it's still heavier. And so you do two-handed 360, single-handed 360, switch sides, pendulum, wrist roll, pendulum, and play around with different sorts of hand switches. Then maybe some weird movements like that, because why not? Yeah, before you know it, you've moved your body in super interesting ways. Um, and you've burned quite a few calories, I guess. And yeah, outside of that, I guess a certain point is the necessity. Maybe necessity is a strong word, but uh, it's a feature of working out if you're able to make it playful. Um, so working out will not always feel good, but by gamifying it, um, you make it fun. So by so like if you play basketball, there's you end up working out a lot, and you don't really think of it as a workout because basketball's fun for you. And so if you end up making your workouts more playful, add these little, it's almost games you're playing with your body as far as can you move it this way, and can you then move it into another way. It just keeps things playful, and makes consistency easier. But yeah, going to play around with the mace for a little while longer. Maybe some juggling after this. All right, on to some kettlebell juggling. Um, yeah, just going to do a short session. Yes, last night's workout was pretty intense, and today I wanted it to be a little bit more active recovery style, and I'll probably go on a short walk after this. So yeah, let's see what's in store today. I'd say that was pretty good. But this is kind of uh like what I was making a point of earlier is like playful training. Kettlebell juggling isn't like working on any targeted style of movement or anything like that, but it is something that's like almost like freestyle dribbling a basketball, and there is a certain kind of joy that you get from landing certain tricks or sequences, and it doesn't really feel like, oh, I'm doing training. Yeah. Ah. That's probably going to be it for today. I'm going to go on a walk or something. And yeah, different style of video. See you all in the next one.